Before this Zestology podcast starts, a quick message to say that it's brought to you by Kitoko Pure C8 MCT oil. This podcast is all about energy, and therefore to have it brought to you by pretty much the purest MCT oil out there seems quite appropriate, really. If you head over to Amazon and search for Kitoko, so that's the word keto with a KO on the end, you will find this MCT oil, which I have been working on bringing to the market. Very excited about it. And yeah, it's all about energy. And this MCT oil is so pure because it's pretty much all C8 oil and hardly any C10 and C12. And I'm pretty sure I'm saying it is the purest on Amazon. It boosts your ketones, and so it gives you energy. Put it in your bulletproof coffee, drizzle it over your salad. Start small with a teaspoon a day and then maybe work up to a tablespoon a day. Oh, and one more thing, enter Zestology at checkout and you'll get 10% off. So, Kitoko MCT oil, enter Zestology at checkout, you'll get 10% off, and hopefully you'll be boosting those ketones in no time at all. Welcome back to Zestology. It's a very windy early evening here in London, and I'm walking along the Thames near my new home. I used to record these podcast intros in central London. It's not quite as central now, but the upside is I'm by the river and you occasionally get to hear a duck quacking. Today's podcast guest is Martina Coogan from the Modern Mystery School. And I'm asking a question today. Am I spiritual? I don't think I am. But Martina is here to convince me otherwise. Martina runs the Modern Mystery School in central London, in Notting Hill, as you'll hear. And her thing is spirituality, and spirituality is kind of thing that I have an argument about a lot, because I like to feel that I'm connected to something greater than me. I like to think that there's plenty to believe in that we don't necessarily understand. I believe there's plenty of unseen energies. This podcast is about energy, and there's plenty to do with energy that we don't understand. And yet I just kind of have a struggle with this word spirituality, and it often seems to kind of bleed into religion. So am I spiritual? I'm not sure I am, but maybe Martina can persuade me otherwise. Here she is, Martina Coogan from the Modern Mystery School on Zestology.
My name is Martina Coogan, and I'm the CEO of Modern Mystery School Europe, and we're located in Notting Hill Gate, and we offer varying levels of training from meditation to practitioner level, and we offer people the ability to sustain themselves physically, mentally and emotionally using a 3,500-year-old body of training that has been held within this lineage, within this mystery school, that is designed to enhance the spiritual aspect so we can have a better physical life.
Now, why don't we start by talking about community? Because you started...
Community,
we were just
yes.
talking a little bit about your story, weren't we? And obviously you grew up in the west coast of Ireland, and then you went to America, and then you came to Britain, which was a bit of a shock. So what were the differences in community that you noticed between Ireland, America and the UK, and how did that influence your work?
Oh, yes, well, in the west of Ireland we're communal, and I grew up in that mindset and in that way of life. And I was very fortunate to get the opportunity to live in the US, so I took off to the US, but what I didn't realise was that I was bringing all of my programming with me, and I was bringing my energetic body with me. So guess what happened when I ended up in the metropolitan area of New York? I started doing the exact same things because I came with that whole package in me. And of course, everybody around me looked very differently and thought very differently than I had. So that made me start asking a lot of questions, and it made me look. Even though at the time I didn't realize I was looking, I was actually looking. And that's how I met the mystery school. And when I met the mystery school...
So you weren't satisfied?
No, I knew that, okay, I've got this great opportunity to live in the US, but I don't feel good inside of me. I have a great education. I have a beautiful job. I live in a beautiful house overlooking a lake, and everybody is telling me that I should be the happiest person in the world. And I felt like a prisoner. I felt every time I went into that house and I looked out at that lake, I felt, oh, I just want to run out of here, because this is not who I want to be or what I want to be. But my programming said, you have a permanent job. My programming said, you have a good home. My programming said, you have stability in your life. You're happy. I was not. So I found the mystery school, which I'm extremely grateful. And I started to use these tools and techniques that we have that help to clear your energy structure.
Did it help you straight away?
Immediately. Because I started to, my word is to...
I'm sold. I want to know more about the techniques.
Yes.
Same day.
I started to do them and I didn't even understand what I was doing. And I started to bring the light in and I started to sustain myself. And the tools and the teachings give you the ability to clear your energy field and to clear what I call this membrane of your mental layer and your emotional layer. And I had been carrying that around with me and I didn't need to. So once that started to clean, then I started to deprogram myself and I started to experience life and what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I started to grow into another version of me, a better version of me.
And then you moved to England and you had to grow into an even better version because we're all
then
closed
I
off.
sat and contemplated after 20 years in the US and said, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I felt this very strong desire to come to London. So here I arrived, 2 bags in hand, coming in on the Heathrow Express thinking, exactly what am I doing? I only know 2 or 3 people and they don't commute around London. What, you know.
But you had the traditional friendly London welcome, didn't you?
I did. And I had my tools with me and I had a very strong desire to build community. And that is why we are based in Notting Hill, because I'm very clear that we want to be in central London because, this is an amazing city. And it's very vibrant, but you can feel very great here, you can feel very enormous, or you can feel very tiny. And it's got a lot of energy and it's got a lot of people, and we need to be able to sustain and contain ourselves. So that's what my passion is to teach people how to take care of themselves so they can have a better day, they can have a better life. And together we come together and we've got a huge community, we've got a beautiful community of people from all walks of life who have the same concept. We want to have peace within ourselves and we want to help others have peace so we can have a peaceful world.
So I want to ask you about, some of these concepts, these very high level concepts. You're talking to a Sky Sports presenter who kind of slumps on his couch and watches football in the evenings. And you're talking about, bringing the light in and cleansing the energy fields. They're quite kind of high level concepts for a lot of people to grasp, aren't they?
Well, let's think about it this way. You have a physical body and you know that if you stay on that sofa and you don't do anything, what's going to happen to your muscle mass?
I'll get a bad back.
You're going to get tense, you're going to get sore, your muscles going to go down, and you're going to look like you're not moving your physical body, because we look at somebody, we know if they exercise or they don't exercise, right?
Yeah.
And you're not going to feel good about it. No matter how many nights you spend on that sofa, something inside of you is going to say, kind of got to get up and move. It's too, you'll get tired of it. And we're the same spiritually. There's really, I say the physical and the spiritual are so close together. When I go to the gym, I had a private trainer and she'd say, now you're going to do that. My body doesn't do that. And she'd say, yes, it does. And she taught me how to do it. And 6 weeks later, my body was doing it, and she's like, oh, you got to up your game now. I'm going to teach you how to do this. Spirituality is the same way. The structure...
So you're saying physicality and spirituality are basically the same thing.
Yes, they're the same thing. If you neglect your physical body, it's not going to work for you. If you neglect your spiritual body, then you're going to start having internal things. I may not be able to see that, but you will.
But you see, now we've cut straight to the heart of the matter already.
Sure.
And it's really interesting talking to you, because I often have arguments with my partner about the word spiritual, and I say, the word spiritual it's so high level and it can be quite non-specific for people that it means a lot of different things to a lot of people. And she says to me, "You're very spiritual," and I'm like, "No, I don't feel like I am spiritual." But then for me, perhaps spirituality is a connection with the natural world, a connection with the physical body. Whenever I feel very present, for example, I feel much more out of my head and into my body. It's just that word spiritual, I think, puts people off because actually it means so many different things to different people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Spirituality, many times in religion, get very much confused, and you can be extremely spiritual and not religious at all. You can be extremely spiritual, and you can also have a very strong religious practice. I've taught in the Middle East. I've taught in Northern Ireland on border towns where, you know, religion has its own versions of it, very close together. I've taught in Israel, and I've taught in the Bible Belt of America. But if we have a spiritual practice, we are bringing the energy, the frequency, the consciousness, there's so many words, from around us into us.
So I could say I'm not spiritual, but I'm connected.
You could say
to my world.
You could say you're connected. But it's knowing that there is a force outside of you, and you are in union with that, you are in connection with that, and you're bringing that frequency, that light, that energy, that sense, and you're connecting to yourself. Because if we're not connected to ourselves, we're disconnected.
So that force greater than ourselves, is another word that I have a problem with, is God. I would say there is an energy outside of me that is greater than me. And how else do you explain, you know, being around some people or some groups of people and you feel amazing, and the opposite, sometimes you feel like it drags your energy down.
Right, the tube, for example, at different times of the day is a great example.
Getting on the tube early in the morning.
Yeah, I use that in my teaching. You know, it's very different when you get on the tube at between 7 and 9 a.m. than when it is, you know, maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Or if you were going to a sports game, it's a very different going on the tube before the game than it is after the game. Because if you get on the carriage with the people that won, there's a very different vibe than if you get on the carriage to the people that have lost. You know, they're the supporters who didn't win. So there's a very different energy there. There's a very different frequency. There's a very different vibe.
I love that, because I mean, this podcast is about energy, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And these unspoken, unseen energies.
Yes.
Some people would call that a type of God, would they?
Well, what if you were to think about the concept that there was God and you were that God? What if you were God? What if you started treating yourself as God? If everybody started to believe that they were a divine being, that they were a god, goddess, they would treat themselves very differently, wouldn't they?
Well, a little bit kinder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe more forgiving, maybe taking better care of themselves on all levels, maybe being more understanding, and maybe looking at life from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So in some of our advanced training, we work with that concept. And we work with the concept of divinity, because it's our goal to get everybody to understand the concept of divinity and to live from that space, to live from that state of being. Because if I understand that I am a divine being and you understand that you're a divine being, then we don't have any separation.
But isn't that another way of saying we're going to be really kind to ourselves and each other?
Yes, and isn't that a great concept to live? If we got on the tube and everybody was holding that, the tube would have a different vibe, wouldn't it?
Yeah, be nice.
And the city would have a different vibe. Yeah. We wouldn't read every morning that we wake up, we wouldn't read about the teenager that has stabbed their colleague, their friend, their whomever, or maybe a complete stranger in the park that we've read about in the last few months.
This is an awful epidemic in London.
Right, because we would understand, I am a divine being and you are a divine being, so we wouldn't have the desire to take a knife to hurt somebody.
You somehow feel that is just such a wonderful thought, but on a global level. Might be a bit too sceptical here, but it is.
Well, we're talking about energy, aren't we? And energy is contagious, and energy perceives us.
Yeah.
You see, when your energy is clean and clear, then when you meet somebody, you have a better ability to communicate with that person. Whether you're going to get a cup of coffee, whether you're going to a football game, whether you're going to an interview, it's your energy that perceives you. So when I meet you, in the first few seconds, before I even speak a word, we already, conscious or unconscious, make a decision. We make a decision if we're going to work together. We make a decision if we're going to like each other. We make a decision about the outcome. And if we can do that, energy is contagious. And that is why in our teachings we believe that if we work with the tipping point, then everyone else will follow. And this is why we work with people who want to have a better life, who want to be the leaders in their lives, and to work from that state of being. So we invite people to our training who want to have an impact on their life. And then when they have an impact on their life, they immediately have an impact on the people they live with, on their families, on their communities, and that immediately starts to change the structure.
And then you get to the tipping point.
And then you have a tipping point. And that's the beautiful thing about energy.
Well, this is good, because this podcast is about energy. Now, I've got a question for you, and that is, with what you do in your school and all your experience as well, and bearing in mind what we've just talked about with energy fields, let's cast our minds into the future, say 50 or 100 years in the future. What do you think that, from a scientific perspective, we might know about energy fields that we don't know now? Or a better question might be, do you think there will be lots of things that eventually we'll be able to prove on a scientific basis that at the moment seem very esoteric, but actually are there? Because there clearly is so much about energy fields that we don't understand.
And more, metaphysicians have always known. And in our lineage, we've always known that, and we've believed it because we use it and it works. So we work it all the time, so we don't need proof. Science still needs proof, and today more than ever. I like
proof. You see, that's why I keep asking
but
about
today
science.
more than ever, science and metaphysicians are coming together, because we're seeing. Look what's happening in. Where they do cancer and radiation treatments, and they take the exact same number of people and they have them do a simple, just with a headphone meditation, and immediately the results increase. Just from a small meditation before they have the treatment. So we see science integrating this more than ever. I think in 50 years, where those who youngsters who will be looking back, they'll be looking at us like we were prehistoric people, saying, "Oh, I can't believe they didn't realize this. I can't believe they lived this way. I can't believe that they treated each other this way, knowing that we're all one and we're integrated, and that the energetic field of each other has an influence on each other." I think they're going to, have museums looking at us, thinking how historic and pre-age we were, because there's a lot of advancements happening right now. And from my perspective, it's going to be very quick when it goes into action. So
that's really, I agree.
It's very exciting.
I think that will be the case as well. And even since I've been doing this podcast, about 4 years, the amount of people now who talk about very simple meditation concepts, how meditation and quiet time, and whether you want to call it prayer or hypnosis or trance or whatever you like, that's become so much more mainstream, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
So these concepts of energy and energy fields are already shifting into the mainstream.
Yes, and I get a lot of people who come, to our group events, because we do every week we have meditation, every month we have meditation trainings happening, and I get a lot of people who come privately, and they're generally from business. They're the CEOs, they're the CFOs.
Don't tell anybody, but
yes. I say that spirituality is a little bit like a swimming pool, and some people want to get into the pool every day and have a nice swim and enjoy it. And then more people want to walk by and know the pool is there, but they don't want to go near it. And then more people, when they come for training, they're very happy that there's a lot of people in the pool, but more people want the pool to be closed, so nobody will see them splashing or
maybe that's
fussing around. Yeah, well, we can organise private training, no problem for you.
I'm just like looking at everyone else splashing around in the pool.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, each of us to our preference, and we work at your level and what's good for you, what works for you. Because the most important thing is that we each individually become responsible and conscious, because once we realize that our every thought, our every word, and our every action affects me and those around me, then we start to change. And that change becomes positive. Because when you look at people, they either have a positive program or a negative program. And the more positivity we have in ourselves, then the more positivity we'll have around us. The more we'll attract positivity. And then the more we'll make the world around us positive.
And just on the energy fields and what we will know in 50 years that we don't know now, and you were talking about, the research that's been done on cancer patients, and I haven't heard of that one, but I have heard of the Qigong experiment where they put cancer cells in 4 different petri dishes, and they put them, this was in one city, I think in San Francisco, and then in New York they asked this Qigong master to send healing energies through the mind to one of the 4 petri dishes. Mm-hmm. And a month later, in different cities, bear in mind, the 3 petri dishes that weren't getting the healing cells had grown. Mm-hmm. And the one petri dish with the cancer cells that was having the healing energy sent to it, the cancer cells had gone.
Absolutely.
How do we explain that? We can't at the moment, but perhaps in 50 years they'll be going to the museum of the 2019 and saying they didn't have a clue.
Exactly. And they'll be looking back and wondering how we survived. How we survived in that frequency that we are holding, because we create the frequency. Everything is available to us and we have everything within us. But if we're not able to clear ourselves, then we're not able to look around and see. If we're in survival mode, we can't live abundantly.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to, that's why, we want to help people to clear themselves so that they have the space around them, and then they can start reaching out and bringing in. Then they can start living from that place of quality and not be suffocating within themselves, because that pressure is coming in all the time from what they have, that they're carrying around in their own structure.
So Martina, now can you help me? Because bearing in mind I'm a skeptical spiritual, or I might say I'm not spiritual, but I'm skeptically spiritual. But I am connected to other people and community, and I do believe strongly in this idea of kind of the natural world and how that relates to me. What would one of the tools that you use in your school and the training that's going on downstairs today and here in this hotel, how might one of those tools work well for me and for everyone listening?
Well, I just want to say first that everyone is a spirit living in a physical body. And some are awake and aware of that. And others just have, the little alarm hasn't gone off yet. It's like getting up in the morning. But
mine's on snooze, I think.
It sounds, that's what I say in my talk. Sometimes people put it on snooze. And that's okay. But it is, more and more people are wakening up. And they're finding whatever word it is that is a comfort for them. And that's what I'd first of all invite you to do. I'd invite you to find the word that's comfortable for you and don't label it. Just allow yourself to become curious and to experience it. And then the second thing I would invite you to do is to do the basic and work with it consistently. So what I tell my clients when they come and they say, I don't want to do this, but I'd like to do it to see if anything had happened. I'd say just do it consistently for 30 days. We'll do a 30-day challenge. Because when I go to the gym, I can't come home and put on the dress that doesn't fit me and say, oh, it didn't work. I spent 45 minutes at the gym and I still can't pull the zipper up. So it doesn't work. I'm not going back tomorrow. Spirituality, as I mentioned earlier, and physicality are so similar. But if I exercise consistently for 30 days, what's going to happen? The dress is going to fit, and I'm going to say, "Oh, I'm so happy that I've been consistently working out."
And
spirituality is the same way.
Okay.
If I consistently use any of my foundational tools in our foundational training, we have 10 tools that we give you, and they work on the different energy fields and the different levels within that, and we explain all about it. And I ask people to do 4 of those, to be able to, first of all, set space for yourself so that you can be within your own energy structure. Second of all, that you're able to bring the light in, bring the energy in to that safe space, the container that you've meant for yourself. Third of all, you're able to bring in elemental beings, guides, energies that are out there and want to help us, angels, whatever words you want to call them, in to support you. And then I have this magical technique that clears your structure. It's like when you come home, you want to take a shower, and then your body feels good, but your energy still needs to get cleaned, and that clears your mental and your emotional body. So then when you sit on the sofa and you go to watch your favourite sports show, then you can have space. Because the worst feeling is that if you come home and you take a shower and you've brought all that energy from the underground, and you've brought all the energy from the office, and maybe you've brought the energy from an argument you've had or from a comment somebody says, and you're not able to clear that, that's going to stay within you. And then that gets magnified into your energy field, and that becomes you. And then you can become a negative influence because you're negative to yourself. And then your poor girlfriend's going to come and sit in the sofa next to you, and you're going to be a negative influence against her energy field. And she may be having a great day, because energy is contagious.
Yes,
it moves.
Yeah.
You go into, like I just took you downstairs. It was a nice feeling, right?
Was, yeah.
It was a lovely feeling. You went in, you
packed down there in that train,
and
isn't
you
it?
felt peace, and you felt quiet, and you kind of gave me a little luck when I went to take you, because you weren't ready to leave, right? Because
I stayed all day. I thought I've got a free day of training.
Yeah, I can just sit here. I can just sit and be here, and that's where we can live every day. We can do that for ourselves, and we need to do that for ourselves so we can sustain ourselves. And that's when we have peace in our hearts, we have peace within us, and we have the ability to share it with others.
I think you might be winning me round, Martina.
Just come over, do something small, get an experience, practice it for 30 days.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of questions that I ask everyone on this podcast. And bearing in mind you've been talking about energy, the first question is a good one, and that is, what is one thing that you would recommend to increase our energy and vitality? And the other question is, what is one book that you would recommend that's had a big impact on you? So one book, it could be any book that you like, it could be fiction or non-fiction, and then one tip for living with more energy.
Well, so I suppose one of the books that I read very early was The Alchemist. And I've given that book to so many people.
That's Paulo Coelho.
Paulo Coelho, yes. Yeah. And I think it's a beautiful... It's just a beautiful story, and there's a little magic in it. And I think, when I read it the first time, I could relate to it. And it helps support me to continue on my personal journey to find my path. So that's what I would recommend. So have you read it? Maybe I can get you a copy.
I saw your cheeky wink there. Yeah, do you know, it's funny actually you mentioned that, because I think it's actually on my shelf, but it hasn't been opened.
Well, there you
so
go.
It needs, so that is the little prod that I need to open it.
Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah. Okay, so that's excellent recommendation. And obviously I've heard of Paulo Coelho, but not that I've read anything of his, so thanks for that. Yeah. And then what about one tip for more energy and vitality?
I think, one tip I think that is good for everybody, if they could just do, let's say, just 7 minutes. Just say you start 7 minutes every day, breathing in through your nose, exhaling out through your mouth, and allowing your mind to become quiet. And if you start with 7 minutes, then you'll slowly start to notice that you're doing it for 10. Because I think especially in a city like London, we go so fast, everything's very fast paced, and sometimes we just need that moment, we need that minute. And I think if you could consistently do that, you'd start to notice that you were just breathing and you were grounding. Because I notice here that everybody goes very fast and it's hard to stop. And, we have to stop to experience and to be in the moment.
I've found that more than ever, actually. I mean, it is such a busy city, isn't it? And I crave slowing down. Mm-hmm. And I also know that it makes my work, the bit where I would tend to speed up, better.
Absolutely,
when I slow down.
Better quality. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just hard to do, isn't it? And then, I think one of the things I was reading, obviously Brexit is a massive talking point here in London right at the moment. And I was reading that the news channels, their figures have gone through the roof recently, because it's actually quite addictive watching this Brexit process play out, because it never quite resolves itself, and everyone's got a very strong opinion, and nobody's quite getting what they want. But that kind of addictive watching of news and listening to news and being connected doesn't help with slowing down, does it? Because your brain's in kind of quite a high beta state when you're experiencing it.
It doesn't. And also I think, we are responsible for ourselves and for the life that we lead and for our own lives, And so you can get caught up in anything like that's on TV, or, right now it's Brexit, but once Brexit gets resolved, I'm sure it'll be something else.
Yeah.
And then you're going outside of yourself. And then time is passing. So I think it's important that we remember, I still have to live my life. And, because I know I listen to my clients all the time talk about Brexit, but it's been going on now for 3 years?
Yeah.
And maybe it's going to go on for another 3 or 4 years, but we can't keep waiting. We still need to live today. We need to plan our lives for today and what we're going to do and how it's going to work. We can't wait until there's an outcome, because then life's just going by. And we only have today, and we can only be responsible for today. So, maybe we can go over there and do a little mindfulness and a little meditation. And I'd love to teach them some techniques to clear their minds. I think it would be really good right now.
All the politicians, get in there, have a word with John Bercow. I think we should call this podcast "I'm Not Skeptical!" ! But maybe I can have my mind changed or something like that. So where can people find out more about kind of what you're doing, the training that's obviously going? It's packed down there in that training room.
I know, isn't it exciting?
Yeah, it's great.
When
Very
you
impressive.
see, over 200 people come together and they all sit and they want to know more. That really excites me, and that's why I feel that we're going to see bigger shifts in a shorter period of time, because people right now, they want to change themselves. They want to be positive.
Were you at Chelsea Football Club doing this?
I was.
How did that go down with them?
They didn't let me wear my heels on the pitch. They were a little concerned when all of us ladies had our nice heels on. That's a pretty impressive pitch over there. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And we're located in Notting Hill Gate. We have a website. It's modernmysteryschooleu.com, and you can find us there, and you can also email us on admin@modernmysteryschooleu.com. And we offer a 30-minute consultation where you can come and meet us, because it's hard to, you need to experience, because I always want to make sure that the person wants to work with me and that I'm the right person, because that's key to you having a good spiritual foundation. So we give a 30-minute consultation so that you can come. I'll do a little testing on your energy structure. I'll tell you what I perceive is going on. You can tell me if it's right or not, and then we can go from there. So maybe we should do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll keep an open mind.
No problem.
As much as I can. So Modern Mystery School EU. What happens if Brexit happens? Modern Mystery School not EU anymore. .com.
Well, we still have modernmysteryschool.com, so it's all good.
Yeah.
We have Modern Mystery School London, so
I like it. It's
I
good.
have no fear of Brexit, because whatever the outcome, I'm still got my life, my body, my spirit, my foundation to live on. It's all good.
Well, it's lovely to talk to you. How long is the training going on here?
Well, this practitioner level training ends today. It's 5 days. It ends today. Then we have another training happening in another hotel down the street, and then we start another program tomorrow. So we're always doing different levels.
You are,
so,
and I was having a look at your website before I came over. There's a lot going on, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a happening place.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, look,
place.
congratulations on all that, and thanks so much.
You're
and
so
before we go,
welcome.
you've given me a gift of some Himalayan salt with healing properties.
Yes, because you've got to cleanse the energy, and salt is amazing for doing that. A nice salt bath, and that can be very relaxing, and it helps to just alleviate the stress from the physical body.
So is that salt for a bath or for food?
No, that's for a bath.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to put it on my beef stew tonight.
No. You're going to have a nice, relaxing bath.
I'm glad you told me that.
And nice. There's some instructions on it.
Okay,
yeah. You can have a nice, relaxing bath, and just let the energy relax and de-stress.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much for doing
You're
this.
so welcome. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, really good to talk to you. Thank you to Martina. Thank you for listening to Zestology. It's pretty much it. I'm going to head home now. It's a very windy evening. But before I go, if you would like to sign up to the 3 Zesty Things newsletter, it's back on track now. Had a little while off, but we're back on track, sending it out every Monday. And if you'd like to know about the latest supplements that I've been taking for more energy, books that I've been reading, lifestyle practices, apps that I've been using, and so on, it's basically the stuff that works for me, and seems to go down well with you every once in a while as well. So that goes out every Monday morning. You can go to tonywrighton.com and sign up to that. Have a great week. Have a zesty time. I'll see you soon.